I want to talk about Lakeith Stanfield because
who's amazing.
He is amazing. He's my favorite new actor. I guess I wouldn't say up and coming because like he's here, like he's in everything, but he's only been like really well known in the past 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, my first thing with him was Uncut Gems, which is honestly that was my favorite movie.
And he plays such a different character in this than Uncut Gems.
Yes,
and he played. I don't know if you've seen Get Out or Atlanta.
No.
In Get Out, he plays like a white person in a black person's body. And
interesting.
Yeah, and it's just hilarious, like the choices that he makes. And he's great in this movie. And his new movie, I can't wait to see, which comes out next year, of Judas and the Black Messiah, which is about Fred Hampton.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
I wanted to bring up because Lakeith Stanfield in his next movie because Fred Hampton kind of plays into what we were talking about on the last podcast with COINTELPRO. Of Fred Hampton was a Black Panther. He was in the Chicago chapter of the Black Panther. Who Lakeith Stanfield plays William O'Brien, who was an FBI informant in that chapter of the
he
Black
doesn't
Panthers.
play Fred Hampton.
No.
Oh, okay.
The other guy from Get Out, who I forget his name, plays Fred Hampton. But he plays basically he is a COINTELPRO informant.
Oh my god.
Of this FBI program that was designed to break apart the Black Panthers. And Fred Hampton, the Chicago police broke into his house and shot him twice in the head while he was asleep.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting, and it leads into Sorry to Bother You, because Sorry to Bother You is a lot about Boots Riley and the black experience, and especially in Oakland, which a primarily poor, primarily black neighborhood across the bay from San Francisco, which is some of the most expensive real estate in the world. And I mean, you do see that when, Lakeith Stanfield, Cassius's character, Tessa Thompson's character, they're both barely just making it by. And then you have Arnie Hammer, Stephen Lift character, who has all the money in the world. I mean, I can't imagine growing up in Oakland, looking across to San Francisco. It probably might feel that way.
I mean, obviously we're not from there.
Obviously we're not from there, so I can't speak that way.
As far as San Francisco is concerned, it's another like New York where you have the uber rich next to, people that are not as well off. I think from what I understand, like it might even be worse there. Like as far as the homeless population
they had something in the Bay Area that people were paying to just live in pods. It was basically like a hallway where everyone like got a little like room that was just a bed that was up against the wall.
Yeah, well, California in general
is ridiculous with housing.
Yeah, and they have like basically tent cities where
that's another thing that comes up a lot in the movie is like the amount of just tents and homeless people that is literally everywhere in the movie.
It's everywhere there in real life.
It's everywhere there in real life, and I love that Boots Riley shot it in Oakland. The producers wanted to bring it in LA, and if it was a different filmmaker, he might have just said, well, all right, we can use LA just as Oakland, but like Boots Riley specifically wanted to shoot in Oakland. And then in 2011 with Occupy Oakland, it's
what, not to cut you off, but I actually was in the Bay Area at that time in 2011, and I actually went to an Occupy protest. It was in San Francisco, though.
Oh,
and,
okay.
It's just interesting to think that is like sort of the setting for this film, because
I saw it because he was one of the founding members, and then they organized a strike at the Port of Oakland. And it's similar to the movie where it's like if we just all decide to not working, if we all decide to just stop workage, they can't ignore us.
That happened in Oakland?
That happened in Oakland. It was something just everybody walked off. It was like the Port of Oakland lost like $4 million in one day.
Jeez.
Yeah, well, I think it happened a few times. So
Did anything actually come out of it, like in terms of?
I don't know. Honestly, with the Occupy like movement in general, like nothing really ended up. Not a lot of changes ended up happening. You spent a lot of time
down there when that was.
I spent a lot of time. So I was in college. Yeah. I was 18 or 19 when Occupy Wall Street happened, and I was across in New Jersey. And on days we didn't have class, on the weekends, a lot of us would go down to Occupy Wall Street. And I mean, it was only there for like 3 months. And at Zuccotti Park, like across. I actually, the first time I went there, I like couldn't find it because I thought it was like actually on Wall Street. And it was funny because I had like a mohawk at the time. I was just like a very radical college kid. And I was walking around.
Radical.
I wouldn't really call myself. I thought I was.
Right.
But I was walking around Wall Street like so embarrassed because I couldn't find it, and I had the mohawk. So I was like, everybody knows I'm looking for the protest because I look like it. When I was there, it's hilarious looking back because I literally thought that we were going to change the world. I thought like this is the moment. All these stockbrokers are going to prison. I thought that Barack Obama was going to like lead us into Wall Street to like arrest everybody. I was
quite the opposite.
I was so naive. Yeah. Meanwhile, Barack Obama was the guy giving these guys the bailouts so that they can continue to rip everybody off.
Maybe the biggest disappointment ever.
Barack Obama.
I mean, even this time around, it's like fucking making a call to Buttigieg and Klobuchar to drop out right before Super Tuesday.
Yeah, to screw over Bernie. There's another Boot Riley.
I'll never forgive him for
Boots
that.
Riley.
Not that he's looking for my fucking opinion.
Boots Riley rallied for Bernie Sanders this year.
Of course he did.
Because that's the type of guy he was.
Yeah.
It was just I don't know. I had just watched like Les Mis for the first time, and like I literally felt like I was some like French radical, like from back in the like French Revolution, and like I thought for sure it was going to work, and then that's just disappointment when you're kind of an activist type person of just
I mean, you were also really young.
I was also
idealistic,
like 18, I mean, idealistic.
You don't want to get bitter. But
yeah,
I mean, I guess because I'm basically close to 4 years older than you, so I didn't have that exact opinion. I was kind of like, let's see where this goes. Like, obviously, I was supportive of the ideas behind it, but I don't know. I get more excited by like a Bernie Sanders or something,
Well, I mean, back then the idea of someone like Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders was back then like all I knew of him was he would just be on Bill Maher's show.
I had
and
no
he would be
idea.
The crazy independent guy.
Yeah,
that was when Bill Maher was like semi decent.
I had no idea who he was until like 2015. Until like he ran for president, I had no idea who he was.
Fine. Most people didn't.
Yeah, but with Occupy Wall Street, I like really thought that this was going to work. And then, I mean, you saw something recently of the Occupy City Hall that was part of the Black Lives Matter protest that got taken down. And well, they kind of achieved their goal. They wanted to cut the police budget by like $1 billion. And
in Minneapolis?
No. In New York City. This was recently.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they kind of got what they wanted, but not really.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't,
I think Boots Riley would probably disagree with me because, his movie ends with, people taking to the street and activism and occupying territories. Like, it works, but that's a very optimistic way to look at it. Really, a lot of strikes don't work.
No, I mean, I kind of will be the optimist here. Where
right.
I think for sure protests work. I don't think there's any question that they work. I mean, you could measure the scope of like, what size of an impact they have over what period of time, but as far as them being a net positive, I think that's kind of like,
no, and I kind of agree with you with that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, specifically recently with George Floyd, I mean, you want a concrete example?
Right.
I mean, they arrested Chauvin.
Right. And if it wasn't for the protest, they never would have done that. No, you are right.
And they arrested the other officers, and then they upped the charge from third to second. And because they weren't, you know.
Yeah.
And we were partaking in those protests.
Yes, it really was. So I had seen this movie in theaters when it first came out. Sorry to bother you. Mm-hmm. And it was after marching with Black Lives Matter again that I was like, I really want to revisit this movie.